Hey everyone, welcome back to the Critic-Verse. Today we're going to be reviewing the penultimate episode for Bel-Air, Season 2, Episode 9, entitled Just Like Old Times. Now, before we get to the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to keep updated on videos and to help build a community where we discuss our favorite shows. Now, let's get to the video. Once again, the episode title is Just Like Old Times, which could be referring to a couple of things going on in the episode. Carlton starting to hang with Connor and abusing drugs again. Phil and his firm partner working to get the best deal from the acquisition. Phil also working with Erica and Erica reconnecting with Viv. Or Hillary and LaMarcus spending more time together, and LaMarcus even referring to Hillary as his girl in front of others. Phil and Jeffrey are explaining the problem with Doc to Viv, and Viv acts as the audience surrogate in order for them to explain the entire situation to us, but without just using it as exposition. Doc was taking money from college scouts, which he would then steer his players to their colleges. And as a former business partner is threatening to blow the whistle after Doc made the decision to cut him out of the business. Will admits Uncle Phil was right, and really glad Uncle Phil didn't double down and say I told you so, because Will was already feeling down in the dirt and just like feeling like crap for trusting Doc and for him turning out like this. Connor doesn't show up for school, which frightens Carlton and makes him wonder if he's going to have to reveal the truth to find out what happened to Connor from the previous episode. Will goes to the Zenith team to speak against Doc, and one of the players calls out how new Will is, which talks about an underlying problem I had with the season, and another how better his life is compared to theirs to just be calling out Doc because he has better waiting for him if he were to leave Zenith. They don't. Erica returns the favor and pops in on Viv to apologize for past events, but it feels really empty and just an attempt to get Viv on board with the whole Philip joining her firm. Phil grandstands at his firm's meeting to go over the acquisition deal, but this also felt like a way to push him towards taking the deal with Erica's firm, especially since they mentioned needing the Garrison account to look better to other firms. Erica gives Viv career advice, and this is the only thing that feels genuine about Erica's meeting. Also, cut to Jeffrey trying to warn Phil about what he's walking into. And after seeing Viv and Erica together, Erica says the title of the episode. Lisa and Will rekindled friendship has Lisa trying to talk Will into making up with Carlton to stage some sort of intervention because Lisa was told by Drew that he was hanging out with Connor again, even though Carlton denies it. But both of them are on bad terms with Carlton, and Will admits that Carlton was telling the truth about Drew to Lisa because he got it from him. And he wanted Carlton to tell Lisa because Will and Lisa weren't on good terms and Carlton was, and that ended up with Carlton on bad terms with Lisa. Kind of a whole go-around thing they got going on. But Will admits that if he was going to put trust in anybody, he was going to pick Carlton over Drew. Ivy makes her first reappearance in the past 4 or 5 episodes, calling LaMarcus Hillary's baller boyfriend, and LaMarcus shows up acting the part. calling Hillary my girl in front of everybody and showing her displays of affection, and her housemates take notice of this, even poke fun at it. Ivy also talks down on Jazz after she was feeling him at the beginning of the season, but it was probably just to make Hillary jealous. Ashley is also involved with Hillary's story this episode, even though it feels out of character to her to be involved in this influencer activity. Doc confronts Will for missing practice and talking shit about him to the other players behind his back, but Will seems to be projecting onto Doc his expectations he had of him. Carlton is confronted by Viv and Connor's mom with questions on what happened after Connor came home late at night missing all his things. But Carlton gets Connor to flip on his story and confirm Carlton's. LaMarcus gets some of his teammates to come and help Hillary, and Hillary wants to set the record straight that she isn't using LaMarcus, and he clarifies that his intentions are pure as well, but we all know they're not. Will and Carlton argue once Will sees Carlton around Connor, and he questions Carlton's story about abandoning his car and getting confused because of his meds. But he also questions if Carlton is using right now, tossing his drawers around looking for drugs, but Carlton stops him before he gets to his stash and throws Will's own issues back at him and points him in Jackie's direction. And Will says Carlton will be all alone if he keeps on lying like this. The influencer that Hillary pulled in that was around Ashley's age canceled, so they put Ashley in to replace her. And even she admits that it's weird to have her do this, and that it's even weird that she's there with grown men, but they make a little fake scrimmage for publicity, and LaMarcus and Hillary get really hands-on. Jazz blasts a social media live session that Hillary helped him plan, and Ashley revealed that he's only doing that to get Hillary's attention. And his live features a real-life rap group called Coast Contra. Phil gets the Garrison account, but Erica's firm gets Phil. And that doesn't really make sense, but more on that later. Will comes through to Jazz's event and sees Jazz has his eyes locked on the door, waiting for Hillary to walk through. But instead of Hillary, Jackie comes through the door, and Will is using Jazz's crib as a date spot. LaMarcus keeps shooting his shot, but Hillary puts it on pause. But LaMarcus agrees to run it on Hillary's clock. Will and Jackie hook up, but Will still wants to know what she knows. And turns out Doc only wanted Will to get to Uncle Phil and to use his connections to help with the whistleblower. Hillary makes it to Jazz's event only after he finally takes his eyes off the door and is having fun and sees him dancing with two fine women, and takes this as a sign to accept LaMarcus's offer finally. Phil and Jeffrey pull up to Zenith to finally confront Doc themselves, and Jeffrey establishes his dominance in the room after Doc's boy tries to pull on him. Doc lets them know what's really happening and what he really wants from them. His former partner wanted to open up their hustle to some old criminal elements, and Doc didn't want that hassle. And if this gets out, every player he has will be ineligible from playing college ball, including Will, whether he continues to play for Zenith or not. And he wants Phil to make it go away, revealing to them that he knows about how Phil got Will off the hook from the gun charges in Season 1. The episode ends and panning out on Will's face as voices echo in his head. It's the voices of Doc, Phil, Lou, and even his own, echoing and goes to black on Will saying, I don't need you, but not specifically, almost like he's saying he doesn't need anyone, which feels like he's kind of reverting back to West Philly Will. Now, this was a good episode, a lot faster compared to the previous episode, which does seem to continue my overall problems with the season. Even a player expressed it to Will, which was kind of meta, about how Will just joined Zenith and he's talking to these guys like he's known them forever when he really hasn't. Will seems to be projecting his issues with his father onto Doc. He saw Doc as a positive male figure since his dad was crap, and he finds Uncle Phil to be controlling. But once the rug is pulled out from under him, it completely destroys him. Phil agrees to take a job with Erica's firm in exchange for the Garrison account, and he gives it to his own firm to look better in the acquisition. But the client left Phil's old firm originally because Phil wasn't there, so what's to stop them from leaving again? But I also have another issue with how Phil is handling this whole past firm and new firm thing and the acquisition, which I'll talk about more in the finale video. Okay, all in all, it was still a fun episode, and I can't wait to talk about where all the characters end up in the video on the Season 2 finale. Thanks for joining me in the Critic-Verse. See you next time.